responding to the situation and the talking about the response of the government to COVID-19 and all that is happening around the country today. Sowore had this to say, saying that Buhari's government is the virus destroying Nigeria. Buhari's government is the virus destroying Nigeria. What does he have to say? Omoyele Sowore, right activist and presidential candidate of the African Actions Congress (AAC) in the 2019 election, says that the Buhari administration is the virus destroying the country. And Nigeria has been battling the COVID-19 pandemic since March with new cases recorded daily. But Sowore in a video said the country will also have to deal with a leadership pandemic that does not easily go away. He said, I do not want to glorify the responses of the government in power and the so-called opposition, the PDP, because these political parties are themselves viruses that are destroying the health of our country, both physically, economically, politically, socially, and culturally, he said. He further said, it is the pandemic that I'm talking about. So let's discuss the revolutionary process that can take these guys out. At the end of the day, the person holding the broom also has an umbrella that he's keeping in the house. So when the broom is not working, he goes for the umbrella. So we are dealing with the same set of people. No difference, just like cross-carpeting from party to party. That's what he's trying to say. He said, I don't glorify their responses with any mediocre of interest or attention. I don't pay attention to what PDP is saying or what APC is saying. The guys are just jokers. As soon as their loved ones are killed or they become injured, again it comes back to the security. He said we have soldiers who are either timid, the ones that are not timid are not motivated enough to fight. He said, and that is why small countries like Chad for that matter, is able to deal decisively with Boko Haram, whereas Nigerian soldiers are clapping for them while they were entering Nigerians' territory. I remember that Baba Adebanjo made a statement saying that Nigeria is a movie. We're joking. We're joking with the lives of people. We're joking with our fears. We're joking with quite a lot of things. He said, I would say most importantly that it borders on leadership. After every pandemic is over, there is a pandemic that doesn't go away, and that is of leadership. Having bad leaders is the worst pandemic that could happen to any country. It is the worst epidemic that can happen to human beings. Terrible leadership, incompetent leadership, wicked leadership, and that is afflicting Nigeria. So after COVID-19 is gone, we still have a pandemic that is not going to go away. It doesn't have any reason or season. It doesn't have any time. It doesn't have a deadline. It doesn't have a flattening curve. It's around with us. And until we get rid of that pandemic, leadership forget about progress. In August, the Revolution Now convener was arrested and detained for planning a nationwide protest against the governor. Well, we would put a video up. That's if it's not already up by our media persons. Technical persons. They would put it up in a moment so you can see the video and hear him directly. But basically, that is what he had to say. Well, I want to believe that he's speaking the mind of virtually all Nigerians who, in response to all that has been happening lately, a lot of people have come to conclude that Nigeria is just a movie. It's just a Disney world where, we just act in movies, play on the rights of people, play on the intelligence of, a whole lot of people. Over 200 million Nigerians, being played on. It's serious. Well, that is it from Omoyele Sowore. He said, Buhari's government is the virus destroying Nigeria.
See, I do not want to glorify the response of the government in power and the so-called opposition PDP, because these political parties are themselves viruses, that are destroying the health of our country, both physically, economically, and politically, socially, culturally. So it's the pandemic that I'm talking about. So let's discuss about the revolutionary process that can take these guys out, that can inoculate our political system from their way of thinking. Because at the end of the day, the person holding the broom also has an umbrella that's keeping on the house. So when the broom is not working, it goes for the umbrella. So you're dealing with the same set of people. No difference. So I don't glorify their responses with any modicum of interest or attention. So I'm sorry if that I don't even pay attention to what PDP is saying or what APC is saying. These guys are just jokers. As soon as their loved ones are killed or they become injured or disabled. So again, it comes back to security. So you have soldiers who are either timid, the ones that are not timid are not motivated enough to fight. And that is why small countries like Chad for that matter, is able to deal decisive blows on Boko Haram, whereas Nigerian soldiers are clapping for them when they are entering Nigerian territory. So again, or I would say most importantly, it borders on leadership. As I always said, after every pandemic is over, there's a pandemic that doesn't go away, and that is that of leadership. If you have bad leaders, it's the worst pandemic that can happen to any country. It's the worst epidemic that can happen to human beings. Terrible leadership, incompetent leadership, wicked leadership, corrupt leadership. And that is affecting Nigeria. So after COVID-19 is gone, COVID-19 is gone, or COVID 1.9 leaves the shores, we still have a pandemic that is not going to go away. It doesn't have any season. It doesn't have, time. It doesn't have a deadline. It doesn't have a flattening curve. It's around with us. And until we get rid of that pandemic of terrible leadership, forget about, progress. I've spent 30 years consistently, historically verifiable time, fighting for what is just and what is right, and never selling out. I say it with due respect to anybody, that you can only sell out if you have a product to sell. In this case, your conscience. I'm not available to be bought, so you can't buy me because I have a conscience, and a very strong conscience for that matter. But it's not enough to have a conscience. It's not enough to say that you are strong. You must have been tested over these years. And you must have been tested and tempted and sometimes suppressed. I have just come out of detention, fresh, after spending almost 5 months. It will be the 10th time that I have gone through the thing called detention in Nigeria since I was about 22 years old. Would I have accepted Amotekun, being a regional policing outfit set up to protect citizens of the Southwest? Of course, yes, but I have caveats. I would not rush into a support for a quasi security outfit that is promoted by failed politicians to protect their own personal interests. My own position, and which was our party position in the 2019 election, is that we would even encourage campus police. What will happen is that everybody will be free to train at several national police academies owned by the federal government, so that the standards are harmonized and they can go back and protect wherever they want. So I would support a federal police system, but reduce the Nigerian police from this gigantic, behemoth that is just there for the sake of name and reputation that is not very